The first camping site is the one that's been there a long time, is the Namibian Wildlife Resorts Sesriem Campsite. And as you come in the main entrance and come down the road, there's a building on your right hand side, and that is the NWR office, but also in that area there's a shop, there's a restaurant, there's a bar, there's also toilet facilities, and where you pay your park fees are all inside that building. Behind that building is the Namibian Wildlife Resorts camping site. Now, it has grown through the years. They've expanded the number of campsites. So the traditional old campsites all used to have a tree in the middle and a wall around them. Then they had bins, an electric point, a light, a bright area, and a water tap. Now, as they've expanded, it's the edge of the desert. There isn't many trees. So they have expanded around all the other trees in the area to put campsites in. But there is some places that don't have trees to shelter. And then there's the spillover, which we'll not address today. So, and they don't allocate campsites either. So it's basically first come, first served. You turn up, unless it's one of the big group campsites, which is for the tour operators, you have to just go and pick whichever site is empty and go and stay there. So it's a bit different. One of my favorites is 47. Anyway, well, let's not go there. So that's where the campsite is located, and they are the actual campsites. Going through the campsite, although it is on the edge of the desert, you can access it in a normal car and with normal trailers. But as you get further into the campsite, the wind does blow the sand in. There is some sandy patches around the campsite. So especially if you're arriving late and it's a bit dark, do be particularly careful. There's a main road in that goes to the campsites, and then the road splits past the ablution blocks, and then you've got more campsites. The further you go in, the more possibility there is for these sandy patches. So if you're in a normal car, just be aware of that. The other thing to be aware of when camping at Sesriem is that each campsite that's not got a wall around it, and even the ones that have, and certain areas where you can't drive, are marked off with these wooden poles put in the ground that are perfectly shin height. So A, you can walk in them in the dark, but also it's very easy to drive or reverse into them when you're reversing your vehicle or parking your vehicle at each campsite. In general, to give an idea of the size of the campsites, they sleep up to 8 people as standard, and will take 2 vehicles. So you could have 2 vehicles and 2 trailers, for example, and that would be fine, or 2 vehicles, but that's the maximum you put on. Some of the, if you have got a caravan, or there is spots where you can take a caravan in, you're probably not going to get into one of the treed walled sites, but there is other campsites towards the left-hand side behind the main building, where there's a much bigger area and there's more space to turn vehicles and trailers and caravans around. In the center of the campsite itself, there's a swimming pool, which are free to use. And as I mentioned before, at the entrance where you check in and pay your park fees, there's a little shop there, which is nicely well equipped. There is a restaurant and a bar, and that's where Wi-Fi is available. Wi-Fi isn't available in the campsite, but it is available at the bar, restaurant, shop area. Also across the road from there, there is a petrol station as well inside the first gate. And have we covered everything there? Apart from the beautiful scenery. One thing I love about the Sesriem campsite is the sounds at night. Camping out there, you've got the desert sounds, the little geckos going, you hear the things the noises on the wind. It's very beautiful. Plus, as you know from me, the starry night. It is beautiful. That's the Sesriem campsite.